Direct to Science, a podcast by NAWA, the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange.
Polish is considered as a difficult language. Students from all over the world are up for the task. For some, it's a means to relate to their roots. Others learn to support their academic professional careers. Some simply love Poland and want to explore the country and its culture. NAWA supports foreign students who wish to learn Polish language at Catholic University of Lublin, in short KUL, or Maria Curie Skłodowska University in Lublin.
Hi, my name is Maria Bystrowska. I'm 20 years old. I'm from the United States, from New Jersey. I'm a student, and I'm right now participating in the KUL NAWA program. My parents are both immigrants from Poland. They immigrated here when they were around my age. So I always grew up with the Polish language, but I wanted to learn more about where I came from, learn more about my culture, my history, and I wanted to improve my language so I can become closer with, be able to communicate better with my family and become closer to my community back at home. I live in Washington, D.C., so I actually found out about this program through the Polish embassy because I have professors who had contacts there, and so one of the biggest goals would be able to intern at the Polish embassy in DC or working with some Polish professors I have back at home to be able to do research. So I think having this language and specifically honing in will be great for increased job opportunities and, getting to know the Polish community within the States better. So for sure, I'll use it outside of just a family setting.
How good is your Polish?
I can understand Polish really well, but kind of I think the immigrant child experience is that your parents speak to you in their language and then you speak back in English. So I wanted to come to this program to be able to improve my Polish language, that I can not only speak it with people at home, but speak it with people at jobs or outside of just my family. Obviously, we use a Polish language at home, but it's a kind of mix of a bilingual language. We will say half the sentences will be half in Polish, half in English. So, for example, today in class, I was learning about clothing. And we were learning about all the different ways to say sneakers. But back at home, we just say Adidasy for everything. So coming here, it's I'm building on my skills, but it's a much more academic, much more this is how it actually supposed to be said. So it's interesting then looking back at my childhood and seeing where these Polish words popped up, but now I get to see, okay, so there are more than just one word for sneakers in Polish.
How the program is organized?
The program, you take a test based off of where you are at with the Polish language. So for me, I'm very advanced in vocabulary, but not so much with grammar. So the class I was put in is specific for where my level is at. So I'm focusing a lot on grammar and kind of honing in my Polish skills. And then we have lectures, and those they have a range of topics, but it centers around Polish history and Polish culture. So we had a lecture on Polish literature, and then we had a lecture on Polish music, which is really interesting for me because the interaction I've had with Polish culture is only through my parents. And so now I get to learn about Polish history and learn about the culture through a more academic sense. And I feel like that has helped me become closer with my own culture and understanding my own history. I think every class is very individualized to that, those people's needs. So for my class, we have a heavy emphasis on grammar, while maybe other classes where the grammar is more advanced, it's more specific to the vocabulary. So I think it's really great that you have each class specialized to the students' needs. And I think the fact that we take a test at the beginning really helps hone that in, especially because I used to go to Polish school in the States, but those were based off your grade, which is difficult because you can have two people who are the same age who have completely different levels of Polish knowledge. And what I also really enjoy is having native speakers, because there's less of a use of English within the classrooms because the native speakers are going to explain a word to you using examples or using illustrations. So you don't go back to your native language as a clutch. We just finished our second week of the program, coming on to the third. And I mean, so far it's been wonderful. I've had incredible teachers. The classmates and students I've met have been wonderful. The director has also been very wonderful and helpful with everything. I would say the program is user-friendly. Obviously, I think there's always going to be hiccups here and there, but for the most part, we've been getting notifications on emails, we've been getting verbal confirmations through class, and also because everyone in the program is younger, we have a big group chat that all the students use, and I think that's been the most helpful because it's always easy to ask a classmate, hey, do we have a lecture after or not? So that's what I think is a real plus of the program. If you're a college student, you're going to come here and meet a lot of kids around your age from different parts of the world. And so not only am I learning about Polish culture, but I'm learning about Bulgarian culture, Spanish culture, English culture. And that's, I think, always great to know to become a more well-rounded person.
It's not your first visit here, is it? How different it is than before.
I've visited on vacation. But this is my first time living in a city and, like I said, interacting with younger Polish generations and getting to learn the culture kind of on my own terms, because I only really knew Poland as, the small town my babcia lives, my grandma lives, which is a lot different than modern Polish culture. In comparison to America, I mean, there are so many places that people come and gather to talk with one another. So me and my friends will be out, at a cafe or something, and you're constantly surrounded by young Polish culture, and even just talking to waitresses or talking to other workers, you're able to learn more about the culture than you would just within a classroom or just through your family. And so I think being in Lublin, especially the Stare Miasto, the old town, is such a great way to interact with the culture, with younger people, and learn about Poland outside of the classroom.
My name is Eva Kozlowski. I'm 21 years old. I'm from the States. I grew up around Chicago, and I go to school in Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. My dad's side of the family is from Poland, and I live with my dad and my grandma mostly, and my grandma only speaks Polish, so I could pretty much only speak Polish around the house because she didn't understand English.
How different is the language you learn here from the one you speak at home?
There's huge differences. It's been just little things have been cultural shocks, but it's been really interesting learning the differences in Poland and in Chicago. I think obviously in Chicago it's more of the immigrant experience. It's a lot of Polish Americans and less traditional than around here, but it's just been nice to learn. I only spoke Polish at home, but very conversationally, not really academic speech. So that was the extent of my knowledge. But I started studying Polish language at my university. I hadn't known prior that the university taught it, but I started taking that and I learned more advanced grammar topics and stuff like that. And I think that now that I'm improving that that level of Polish, I think that that'll help me maybe read more books in Polish and culture in Polish, Polish language, Polish history, and also I'm really interested in popular culture, popular media, and maybe watching Polish film could be helpful in incorporating that and how that Polish media and how that is tied to American culture and maybe the immigrant experience.
How did you find out about the program?
I study ethnic studies. That's my major at Brown, and Polish immigrants have always been a topic, but kind of in passing. And it started interesting me how Polish immigrants were an academic subject, but we weren't really often talked about as a larger theme. I was interested in improving my Polish language skills so that I can maybe in the future incorporate that in my studies more than what the university has in the past. One of my professors at Brown, my Polish professor, she teaches introduction to Polish and then also intermediate Polish, which I'll be taking this coming fall. She has connections, I'm pretty sure, with NAWA, or some of her friends teach here, something like that. And she recommended it to me. She said that Brown offers it a lot, but not a lot of people take part in it. And she thought it would really help me to like learn more about my roots in Poland and stuff like that, because it's my first time being here. So much of what I knew about Poland was just like stories that my grandma would tell me, or like my parents. It's so much more than what I've just been told through stories. And also, while my grandma grew up here, she grew up like in the past, and it's not the same. Like the younger generation is so much different than the stories I've told, and it's just been nice to immerse myself in Polish culture, especially amidst like younger people. We've always been trying to come out here for a vacation, things like that. I'm really happy I came here by myself and through like a more like academic setting. I think I'm learning a lot just from like being independent here and practicing my Polish by myself rather than relying on my family.
Is your Polish good enough to get you around Lublin?
My grammar is good enough that I can just like speak with whoever, like waitresses, service workers. It's just nice to be able to practice my Polish in a more like practical setting rather than just familiarly. It was really interesting. My friend and I, we went to a pizzeria yesterday, and it was a Polish owner, and he could tell that we were from the States, but he was like shocked that we knew Polish so well. And it was just a nice conversation to like talk about like Polish and American culture, and it was just like intercultural differences are so interesting to talk about.
You come from a Polish family, but other students have different backgrounds and motivations, don't they?
I'm in like one of the more advanced classes, and some of them have Polish background, but some of them are just studying it at a university level. So they're like majoring in Slavic studies and things like that. So they're actively like using that in their career. So it's just been super interesting to like talk about different cultures. And like, I mean, for me, I study Polish because it's like really tied to my family, and I am super interested in that. But I never thought about it as like, this is an area of study that people are interested in that don't have ties to Poland like that. And it's just been nice to hear their opinions on like our culture and just like talking over just how different our countries are and also similar. I'm just really glad that I was able to participate in NAWA. I've made like such great friends that I think will truly last a lifetime. The program is well put together. Obviously, there's like issues here and there, but for the most part, I think it's really well put together for any level. It's good for if you're just starting out or if you're more advanced and just like wanting to immerse yourself in Polish culture.
How do you see the program as such? What would you change?
Some of the programs are a bit outdated and maybe mistranslated into English in some areas. I feel like that could just be improved upon. But the directors that we work with, they're super good at like communicating the day of what's going on. And also with the group chat that all the students have, it's just nice that like even if one person doesn't know, somebody's bound to know what's going on. We just communicate really well like that.
I'm Lucia Gabrielli, and I come from Italy, and I study interpreting. So I would like to become an interpreter one day in the future. I'd start with French and English, and maybe later I would add Polish and Spanish as well. Polish is quite tough for me. It's a real challenge, but I would like to study and improve it little by little. I'm just at the start of this long journey, but I'm happy to be here and to have the opportunity to study and improve it.
How did you start your Polish adventure?
I came to Poland 4 years ago for an Erasmus experience during my bachelor's degree, and I fell in love with the country and culture, and I decided that I would have studied this language. To be honest, I didn't choose to come here in the first place at the beginning. But then I came here and I had the opportunity to travel a lot. I visited many Polish cities, and the history that I heard of this country and the dishes I ate and the music I heard, the dances I saw, everything caught my attention and made me interested in this country.
You have mentioned that difficulty. What's the challenge?
The cases you have. In Italy we don't have cases, so I think it's much easier to create sentences. And I only study, apart from English, languages that come from Latin, so they are quite similar to mine, whereas Polish has nothing or almost nothing in common with my own language, so I have to study all the vocabularies, and it's really a challenge. But little by little, I try to listen to Polish native speakers and repeat what they say.
How is the course organized?
I can speak about the teacher I have here. She pays a lot of attention about the fact that we can follow her lessons. So if she sees that someone knows a little bit more, she tries to push them further, and she gives them additional material so they can practice more. If she sees that someone has more difficulties, she tries to help them. So we have all the material to practice as much as we like. I think that I'm improving. I'm learning a lot, even if it's just a week that I'm here. So I'm really happy. Here we not only attend Polish classes, but we also attend Polish literature and history classes. We learned how to dance Poloneza. We sang together Stolat. We visited many cities nearby, so it's really amazing. Every day we eat Polish food. I mean, it may sound a little silly, but I have never eaten so much Polish food, and I have never tried so many different dishes. And it's also a cultural aspect.
It's a beginning. Is there a word or phrase that you particularly like?
Maybe I won't pronounce it correctly, but oczywiście. I really like it. I don't know why, but it's, I think, one of the first Polish words I learned some years ago, and I recognize it every time I heard it, and I like it, yeah.
These courses seem to be more than just about learning Polish language and culture, aren't they?
We all come from different countries. It never happened to me because normally I'm surrounded by Italian students, but here I'm the only Italian. So yeah, it's really great to get to know other people from other countries, and we really click together. Yeah.
What are your Polish plans?
I will be here just for 3 weeks, and then I have to come back to Italy, but I hope to come back here another time. I still don't know when, but for sure I will come soon. Next time I will be here, I won't be here to study Polish, but I will be here to do a sort of pilgrimage from Krakow to Częstochowa with a lot of Italian friends. So I will visit Krakow and Częstochowa another time, and I'm so happy to be back here.
Hello, my name is Margaret Hope Nyambura from Kenya. I am a student at Poznan University of Life Science taking my master's in biotechnology. I had some friends who were here before, and she encouraged me to take up my master's. I knew from my second year I wanted to do my master's, but I hadn't decided on the country yet. But after I talked with my friend, and she told me she got the NAWA scholarship, and she also directed me on how to do the applications and the documents to get in order to get the application. I decided, well, why not apply it? And thankfully I got it. I got the chance to come to study in Poland, which has really helped me focus on my studies because NAWA is taking care of the tuition fees and the stipend. I'm grateful to them, honestly, I am. It is rather an affordable country, I might say, compared to other European countries coming from Africa. And so far, so good. I'm loving the weather, the people, and I'm excited of the opportunities to immerse myself into the Polish culture.
You study for your master's degree in English, so why have you decided to learn Polish? That's not an easy task, is it?
My master's is fully in English. So when NAWA sent out the call-outs for the summer courses, I decided, well, I might as well take it and learn the language, even though it won't be like all of it at once. That's basic introduction and understanding, maybe like some words will help me navigate through my life in Poland. It's difficult, but I decided to take it up on a different approach to say like, I like doing difficult stuff, so this should be interesting to me. And I'm not taking it as a difficult language. I'm open to learning, to understanding it and being able to use it out there in the world with the people and in school with my friends and with my lecturers too. Even though I have English professors, it will be good at least to understand some extra conversation that people are holding out there in the world. And also like in the transport systems, they mostly, maybe in the trams when they're making announcements, it's just in Polish. And if you don't understand, you're just left there wondering, what did they say? So learning Polish will help me understand such scenarios, or maybe when I'm accessing like facilities maybe in the hospitals or in churches sometimes. Yeah, I would love to attend a Polish service and understand what the preacher will say.
Where is the biggest challenge from your point of view?
The way people speak fast. I understand even when you're speaking in English or in your own languages, you also speak in the way that you're used to. And with the Polish people, it's fast. So you might know what they're meaning, but trying to gather up all the words in one sentence and maybe give a response is the challenge so far for me, because they're speaking so fast. But I hope with time I'll be able to catch up and then make my brain also understand things faster so that I can respond in as much and in the correct way that I would like to. It is a challenge because if it's not for Google Translate, you'll just be left there wondering, what did the people say, or what are they trying to ask me to do, or where should I go? It's quite difficult if you really don't understand Polish here in Poland, because not so many people speak English and you don't want to seem like the outsider. You want to be involved with the people, talk to them, be engaged in conversation. When you have the language, it will be so much easier, in my opinion.
You have just started, so how do you get around?
Just saying dobrze, tak, because the first thing I learned in Polish, it's definitely dzień dobry. And recently I was with my other friend who's also studying in Poland, and it was in the evening and we were getting on a taxi, and I said hi to the taxi driver in dzień dobry, and she was like, no, it's not dzień dobry, it's dzień wieczór. I'm like, where do we draw the boundary between dzień dobry and dzień wieczór? It was evening and I was still saying dzień dobry, so it's funny. Like, even though it's not just morning, even in the evening can say dzień dobry, but it's not correct. And that's fun to me. And just saying tak, and karta if you're paying for something. Because people are like, cash or card, you're like, karta, that's it. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. A little bit, some words just are difficult for me because the place I come from in Kenya, we have a challenge with saying some words with R, L and CH and SH, and in Polish it's all together. You can have all the four in one sentence, so that's a challenge a little bit, but with more practice in the evenings, or especially have a very wonderful professor who's taking us, Professor Agnieszka. She's wonderful because it's engaging, the class is engaging. You're able to read out aloud to the people or maybe like do the practice in front of people. It's really engaging and it's helping me with the pronunciation of such words. That was also the first challenge I got, because why on earth do you have PRSZY before even saying anything in one word? It was just, I couldn't understand it. But anyway, it's the people, culture of people, just the way things are. You just have to take it as it is and move on with life. It was really mind-blowing because I didn't understand why on earth do you have all these consonants. Even in a word, you might lack a vowel. It's just fully consonants, and that's a word. I was like, no way. It's just too much. Please, bye. But it is interesting. I'm loving it so far. Yeah.
What level of language proficiency do you plan to achieve?
To be at a professional level, because after my studies, if I plan on staying in Poland, hopefully, I will have to understand Polish, because in biotechnology, if I'll have to work in the labs, I'll have to know Polish. So that if I can be able to work well with my colleagues, I'll have to know Polish. So I'm hoping to get to the deeper levels to understand Polish and to be able to use it properly in a conversation. Before I came to Poland, I started doing my Polish lessons on Duolingo. And so far it has helped me learn maybe like the basics, and even here I'm able to like understand some words or maybe like relate some words to what I've learned on Duolingo. And I am hoping to make more Polish friends. Right now I have maybe like one or two and plus my professors too. So I'm planning to be able to use it out there in the world, not only while working. I have to, when maybe going for parties or events. Yeah, I would love to understand and being involved in a conversation with the Polish people.
Hello, my name is Jana Aleksandrovich and I come from Lithuania, Vilnius. I do have Polish background. I come from the Polish family. I do speak Polish at home. There's a line of this Polish descent in my family. Of course, we speak with certain accent that is very specific to the terrain where we live. Yeah, so maybe I am a little bit struggling with the articulation aspect because it's very front and the accent falls on the pre-last syllable. So I need to just to practice it more to speak in the right way. I had some Polish lessons at school, and now I need just to master the language to do translation as a professional translator. Perhaps at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Seimas, the Parliament, or maybe conferences, some books also.
How do you see the course?
I find it really great, magnificent, since not only we can learn the language, we are also given the opportunity to form our opinion of the history of Poland and of the culture of Polish people. So I really admire it. I am in group 8, so it's the highest group in this summer course. We are learning from textbooks that are on B2 level. I have a degree in English philology, English studies. I also have a master's degree in English studies. So if I decide to do something in Poland, in terms of studies, so it would be definitely connected to languages, maybe foreign languages, the Polish language.
How did you find the NAWA program?
1 year ago, I was browsing the web page of Stowarzyszenie Wspólnota Polska, and suddenly I just spotted the name of NAWA, and I got interested, and I started to read what it is. Then I found out that there are these summer courses, right, and other programs, and I just thought that this would be really a magnificent opportunity, to learn and to master my language skills. If a student wants to sound more Polish, so they need to practice language, practice the pronunciation. So I think it's really helpful to watch different movies, TV series in Polish, to listen to some radio programs, yes, read Polish books, yes. So this is the way we can just practice. It's very probably general, but very useful and helpful. I think that because of the accent, right?
How is the course going?
We have had classes for 1 week, right? So we now focus on the passive forms of the verb. So I really find it useful because I see that I forgot many things. So it's really, beneficial to recapitulate because things get forgotten, and when you don't use, let's say, the official language, and we do some exercises that, and the teacher says, well, these forms are used in the official language, in some, official documents, and so on. So this is very great, because if I, let's say in my case, if I decide to do some translation, yes, and this would be really applicable. First of all, we need to understand what sort of text we are dealing with, whether it's formal or informal, right? And then we just need to recall the structures, right? The forms. Yeah, so that's why we're taking notes during our lessons here. We got very nice textbooks written by, as I understand, some of the teachers who are teaching in the center. The group is really multicultural. There are Ukrainians, there is a Spanish person, students from Slovakia, there is a guy from Estonia, right, and I am from Lithuania, so it's really, so to say, not only about learning the language, but it's also like a lesson of tolerance, because we need to tolerate the differences if there are some, yes, but of course everything goes in a really positive mood. I think it's pivotal to mention that this is a very magnificent opportunity that we could come here to participate in this summer course, and I would like to extend my thanks to NAWA, right? So I'm really grateful for it.
You have been listening to Direct to Science, a podcast by NAWA, the Polish National Agency for Academic Exchange. It was a free-range production.